Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Malescu and I am the owner of Malescu Law, a law firm based in Miami, Florida, specializing in business, corporate and US immigration. We can assist you with all your immigration needs regardless of where you are currently located or where you plan to go in the United States. Today we are going to speak about what is a US visa versus what is a US status, and also help you understand the differences between a status and a visa in the United States. But before we get started, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the bell button or the subscribe button. So, whether you plan to travel to the United States or you plan to immigrate to the United States, or you plan to temporarily relocate to the United States on a temporary visa, it is important to differentiate between a US visa and a US status. Often you will see the terms visa or status used interchangeably, but these two concepts are very distinct from each other, and we are going to explore what is a US visa versus what is a US status and help you understand the differences between these two concepts that are very important for your immigration to the United States. So, what is a US visa? Well, a US visa is an entry document. The US visa is a stamp or an endorsement that is placed in your passport by the US government, the US consulates and embassies abroad, that allows you to travel to the United States for a specific purpose. Basically, the US visa is an entry document. It allows you, based on the stamp in your passport, to travel the United States and enter the United States for a specific purpose. The US visas are only issued at the US consulates and embassies abroad. However, the visa does not guarantee you that a US Customs and Border Protection officer at the customs in the United States will allow you to actually enter and admit you in the United States. So, in a nutshell, the visa allows you, when issued by the US government, the visa allows you to travel to the United States for that specific purpose, but it does not guarantee that the US Customs and Border Protection officer will actually admit you into the United States for that specific purpose that you obtained your US visa for. Now, there are numerous types of visas that US consulates and embassies abroad issue that serve different purposes. We have 1. Non-immigrant visas. These are visas that are issued for a temporary purpose, such as to study in the United States or to come for a business meeting in the United States or for some other business purpose, or to travel and enjoy being a tourist in the United States. These are just some examples, but these non-immigrant visas are temporary visas. They allow you to be in the United States temporarily for a specific purpose. And we are going to give you some examples of exactly what type of visas are non-immigrant visas. So, you can have non-immigrant visa, visitor for business or touristic purposes, the B1, B2 visa, or to be a student in the United States, the F1 student visa, or also the M1 to study. Other visa for cultural exchanges or exchange visitors to the United States, which are the J1 visas. You can also have other employment-based non-immigrant visas, such as the H-1B visas or the TN visas that are available to Canadians and Mexicans only, or temporary non-agricultural work, the H-2B visas, or other visas that are issued to E2 investors, the E2 visas, or investors and their employees of investors, again the E2 visa, or those foreigners that are doing international trade with the United States and they have a treaty country, the E1 visa, or other non-immigrant visa that can be issued also include the L1A or L1B visa for intra-company transferee, or the O1 visa for those with exceptional abilities, and so on. So as you can see, you have numerous types of non-immigrant visas. But visas are not only non-immigrant. Another category, the second category of visas that U.S. consulates and embassies issue are immigrant visas. These are visas that allow you to become a permanent resident of the United States and live permanently in the United States, as opposed to only living in the United States temporarily on a non-immigrant visa. These immigrant visas, known as green cards, they give you permanent residency in the United States, and they can be family-based immigrant visas, employment-based immigrant visas, the perm process EB2 and EB3 visa, the EB1C visa, the EB1A and EB1B visa, the EB2 National Interest Waiver visa, or investment-based visas, immigrant visas, such as the EB5 Immigrant Investor Program, and also the diversity visas for those that are allowed to enter the lottery each year for a diversity visa that is essentially an immigrant visa if you get selected and approved at the U.S. consulate or embassy abroad. And aside from these two groups, the non-immigrant visas and the immigrant visas and their subcategories, you also have a third group, which are transit visas. These are the visas that allow you to transit the United States on your way to a different destination or place of work, such as the C1D visas. And now, separately from a US visa, we have a US status. So what is status? A status in the context of immigration means your legal standing within the United States. So the status kicks in after you enter the United States, and it is your legal standing while you are physically present in the United States. It basically determines your rights and privileges, but also the activities you are allowed to engage in while in the United States. And also very important, your status is based on the US visa that you used to enter the United States. So, for example, if you come into the United States at the CBP, at the border, and you have in your passport, for example, you have a stamp for an F1 visa, an F1 student visa, and also in parallel you have a stamp for a tourist visa, a B1, B2 visa, both of them valid in your passport. And you tell the CBP officer when you are asked what is the purpose of your travel to the United States today, and you say, I am here to attend such and such university, and you show your F1 visa, then This means that the CBP officer at the border, when they are admitting you under the F1 visa, they will give you F1 status. So you will be in the United States, you would have the legal standing of an F1 student, which means you have the rights and privileges of the F1, but you are also only allowed to engage in activities that are permitted under your F1 status while you are physically present in the United States. Now, the CBP will also record at the entry into the United States. Once they admit you, they record your status based on that visa in your electronic I-94 record, which you can access it on the CBP website. So after you enter the United States and you've been admitted, you can always go online after you exit the airport or the next day, and you can always check your I-94 electronic record online by visiting i94.cbp.dhs.gov. Now, if at the border, instead of saying you are coming to attend a US university and showing your F1 student visa, you in fact are telling the officer you will be traveling to Disneyland or elsewhere in the United States to visit an attraction or some tournament, and you show the officer your B1, B2 visa, then the officer will not admit you under the F1 status, under your F1 visa, and give you F1 status, but instead they will admit you under your B1, B2 visa and give you B1 or B2 status depending on whichever your activities you plan to do in the United States are. They will give you B1 status if you attend a conference and you are doing a business activity, or they will give you a B2 for tourism if you are planning to visit some of the attractions in the United States or have other touristic purposes that you are entering the United States for. So this is in a nutshell the differences between the US visa and having status in the United States. The US visa is an entry document that allows you to travel to the United States for a specific purpose, while the US status, which is based on the visa you present to CBP officers, represents your legal status in the United States with the rights and privileges that come with it, and also the activities that you are allowed to do under that status that the CBP officers notate in your I-94 record. That, as always, you can check your electronic I-94 record online to see the status you have been admitted under, also the validity of your stay in the United States, so how long can you stay in the United States on that specific status. This is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you need to get in touch with us, you have our contact information in this video and below this video. We will see you soon. Bye.